Hello and welcome to this video on National Pension Scheme, popularly known as NPS. The National Pension Scheme is a scheme that has been launched by the Government of India to meet the post-retirement benefits of people from the organized and the unorganized sectors. The objectives of the NPS system are: one, to provide old age income, reasonable market-based returns over long run, extending old age security coverage to all citizens, and provide tax benefits. It is based on a unique permanent retirement account number or PRAN, which is allotted to each subscriber upon joining NPS. NPS is available to all citizens of India on a voluntary basis. You don't need to be employed. You don't need to be in service to contribute to the NPS. Even a housewife can participate in the NPS. NPS accumulates savings into subscribers' PRAN while he's working. Subscriber can withdraw accumulations at retirement and also use it to procure a pension for the rest of his life. The employees of corporate entities can also participate through the NPS corporate sector model. NPS can be a good substitute for your Provident Fund scheme. So the highlights of the National Pension Scheme are: it is a pension scheme launched by the Government of India. It is regulated by the PFRDA. It is for Indian citizens and NRIs. The entry age is 18 to 65. So anybody between 18 years and up to 65 years can participate in NPS. By participation, meaning they can contribute. Once they retire, they can withdraw funds from the NPS as per certain rules. Once you enroll, a unique PRAN number. What is PRAN? Permanent retirement account number is allocated to each customer or subscriber upon joining NPS. So what are some of the scheme details? NPS is one of the most economical investments, particularly because the expense ratio is very, very low. Consider the expense ratio for any ULIP scheme. On an average, it is 2.5%. The ULPP, the unit-linked pension or the unit-linked insurance plans are all above 2%. Mutual fund, equity funds, the expense ratio is up to 2.75%. For mutual fund debt, it is around 1.5%. In comparison, the NPS expense ratio is just 0.15. So obviously, you incur a whole lot of less expenses, so you lose less money. Some unique features of NPS are: it is simple and easy to understand. It is portable. It is transparent. There's a flexible contribution mechanism where you can move your contributions, you can increase it, decrease it, you can have SIPs and so on. Choice of funds and investment approaches is your decision. You can decide how you want your funds to be invested. There's flexible options for withdrawal and annuity. There are primarily two types of NPS account. One is a tier 1 NPS account, which is your main pension account. It is mandatory to open the tier 1 account, and withdrawal is restricted. The other type of NPS account is the tier 2 NPS account, which is more like additional investment account. It's optional and it can be opened later as well, as and when required. Withdrawal is permitted at any time. Of course, you don't get any tax benefits for your investment in tier 2. Investment for availing of tax benefits is only in tier 1. There's no tax benefits for tier 2 NPS account. Remember this. So what are the NPS tax benefits? The tax benefit depends on the type of employment that you have. If it is self-employment, investment up to 50,000 is eligible for tax deductions under Section 80 CCD, Section 1. For salaried people, the contribution deposited by the subscriber directly up to 50,000 is eligible for tax benefit under Section 80 CCD, subsection 1B. Contribution deposited by the subscriber through the employer is also eligible for additional tax benefit. Investment of up to 10% of salary, that is basic plus DA, is eligible for tax deduction under 80 CCD subsection 2 without any upper cap in terms of absolute value. So tax benefits under 80 CCD 1B and 80 CCD subsection 2 are mutually exclusive. So they can be availed at the same time. So what's the eligibility for NPS enrollment? The person has to be a citizen of India, whether resident or non-resident can join NPS, subject to the following conditions. 1, subscriber should have age between 18 and 65 years. Subscriber should comply with the KYC norms as per the subscriber registration form. So there's a CSRF form that has to be filled up. One has to provide proof of address, proof of identity, a cancel check, and the initial contribution amount. So this contribution check is inclusive of the subscriber contribution and the account opening fees. The following applicants, however, cannot join NPS. OCI and POI in the category of people who cannot open NPS account, an undischarged insolvent, individuals of unsound mind, and pre-existing account holders under NPS. So what are the other scheme details? When it comes to investment of funds, an investor can choose what is the choice of funds. The options are asset class equity, which is E, termed as E. That is, maximum allocation is 75% in equity. Asset class C, which means corporate bonds or fixed income to ensure you have a more regular income. And asset class G, which is primarily government securities. And asset class A, which is alternate investments, and which has a maximum allocation limit of 5%. Now, there's a choice of 2 investment approaches. That is active choice and an auto choice. Active fund management is by the subscriber across E, C, G, and A funds. So you can decide how much you want of your funds to be invested in which type of asset class. However, there's a restriction of 75% in equity funds and 5% in alternate funds. Auto choice investments can be across three funds, that is E, C, and G. It's done in a life cycle mode as per the age of the subscriber. So typically, an aggressive lifestyle is for people who are early in their life. Moderate is those who are in their middle ages and have or are approaching retirement. In that case, it's a conservative lifestyle funds because you need those funds in a period of 10 to 15 years. So you don't really have the benefit of long term. You also need to choose a pension fund manager who is going to invest on your behalf. And the fund managers are HDFC Pension Management Company Fund, Reliance Capital Pension Fund Limited, UTI Retirement Solutions Limited, Kotak Mahindra Pension Fund Limited, LIC Pension Fund Limited, SBI Pension Funds Private Limited, ICICI Prudential Pension Funds Management Company, and Aditya Birla Sun Life Pension Management Limited. So when you choose the pension fund manager, they could be acting on your behalf and investing your funds into the respective choice of funds as decided by you. So typically, this is the approach of funds allocation under the different life cycle funds. Anybody who is less than 35 years of age, equity is 75%, corporate bonds is 10%, government securities is 15%, making up the 100%. Anybody less than 50 years can also opt for a moderate life cycle depending on their risk appetite. In that case, 50% is in equity, 30% is in corporate bonds, and 20% is in government securities. And those who want to take a conservative approach, 25% is in equity, 45% is in corporate bonds, and 30% is in government securities. Now let's look at a person who is around 30 years of age, which is over here. Now, when someone is at 50, that means in another 10 years, they need to plan for retirement. They would need the funds. So obviously, you don't invest a huge amount of money in equity. Rather, you take a conservative approach and you ramp up higher amount of investment in government securities, 15% in corporate and 10% in equity, because you also want it to grow, but maybe not so aggressively because you don't want to take too high a risk. And those who are around more than 55 years of age, obviously your equity funds are going to come down. It's just 5%, those who are conservative. And those who are aggressive, maybe they can invest around 15% in equity, 10% in corporate bonds, and 75% in government equities, government securities. Okay, so that gives you a fund allocation approach, which you can also choose, or you can do an auto choice. Now, how do you exit from the scheme? That is closing of the NPS account. Exit from the scheme has been considerably eased by the government. Subscriber can exit from the scheme after 10 years of account opening or attainment of retirement age, whichever comes first. Okay, so if you are at 55, you open the account, you have to have it active for 10 years. So you reach 65. Or if you start at 50, after 10 years, that means at the age of 60, you can start exiting. So how can you exit? One is you can do a premature exit. That is, even before you reach the age of 60. Now, this might be because of different requirements, fund requirements, marriage, education of the children, marriage of the child, or education, or some housing requirement and things like that. So you can withdraw up to 20% of the corpus in lump sum. The balance, that is 80%, has to be invested in annuity, which is going to fetch you regular returns. If the corpus is less than 1 lakh, then subscriber can withdraw the entire amount. Now let's see what happens when he retires. Now that's at the age of 60 or thereafter. Up to 60% of the corpus can be withdrawn in lump sum should you need it. Maybe you want to hang on to the investment a little more time. Balance amount can be invested in equity, in the annuity. And if the corpus is less than 2 lakhs, then the subscriber can withdraw the entire corpus. Okay, so when you exit at the retirement age, that is 60 years, subscriber can avail either of the following flexibilities. One, they can defer the annuity investment for 3 years from retirement age. You might think that, okay, I don't need it right away. I may need it after 3 years. So you can defer the annuity. You can defer the corpus withdrawal till 70 years of age. You may not need it till around 70. Withdrawal corpus in lump sum or in installments of maximum of 10 is allowed. You can keep on investing in NPS till 70 years of age. Okay. In case the subscriber opts to defer investment in annuity or withdrawal, the amount remains invested and keeps on growing. So as you can see, it provides a lot of flexibility, both for premature withdrawal as well as withdrawal on maturity. So what about the exit rule for subscribers who are joining post 60 years of age? You can exit it on maturity. So subscribers can exit after completion of 3 years from the date of joining NPS. Up to 60% of the corpus can be withdrawn in lump sum, and balance has to be annuitized. That means 40% has to be annuitized. If it is premature exit, that means before completing 3 years, it would be considered as premature exit. So up to 20% of the corpus can be withdrawn, balance has to be annuitized. What about death? If the subscriber, something happens to the subscriber, then the subscriber can exit after completion of 3 years from date of joining NPS. Up to 60% of the corpus can be withdrawn in lump sum, and balance has to be annuitized. Okay, so there would be a nominee. The nominee would be eligible for the corpus benefits. Subscribers joining NPS post 60 years can continue to contribute till 70 years. However, they do not have the option to defer annuity or lump sum withdrawal after 70. You can also do a partial withdrawal from the scheme, which is allowed after 3 years of account opening. So sooner you open your NPS account, better it is for you. Up to 25% of the subscribers' own contributions can be withdrawn. for specific purposes like higher education, child's marriage, buying a home, or treatment of critical illnesses. 2 more withdrawals are allowed after the first withdrawal. The contribution for availing of tax benefits is treated as employer's contribution and withdrawal is not permitted on it if it is under section 80 CCD, subsection 2. What about tax treatment on exit from NPS? If it is partial withdrawal, corpus withdrawn is tax exempt. If it is premature exit, corpus withdrawn is in lump sum is tax exempt. 40% of corpus withdrawn in lump sum is tax exempt. Exit due to death, 60% of the corpus withdrawn in lump sum is tax exempt. You don't need to pay any tax on 60%. Tax treatment on annuity amount invested in annuity is tax exempt. Pension received is treated as income and will be taxed appropriately if falling into any tax bracket. So that is treated as income, the pension amount, but not the investment corpus. Investment in annuity, subscriber can select any of the annuity service providers and annuity schemes to get a monthly pension post-retirement. Who are the annuity service providers? You have HDFC Life, you have LIC, SBI Life, ICICI Prudential, and Star Union Daiichi. As of now, in future, there might be more service providers. Pension payable for life at a uniform rate to the subscriber. Pension is payable for 5, 10, 15, or 20 years for sure, and thereafter as long as subscriber is alive. That's what annuity means. Pension for life with return of purchase price on death of the subscriber. Pension for life with the provision of 50% or 100% of the annuity payable to spouse during his or her lifetime on death of the subscriber. What are the charges under NPS? Now, obviously, charges, you have a GST payable on the charges as well, but GST is always 18%. So whatever charges you're paying, add 18% to accommodate GST. The intermediary, in this case, angel broking and platform mark. The subscriber registration charges is 200 rupees. Contribution processing is 0.25%. Non-financial transaction processing is rupees 20 on each transaction. So every transaction that you're doing, that is the additional charges. Subscriber registration is a one-time charge that you have to pay. How is the payment being done? That is added upfront when you are subscribing. Persistency charge, which is rupees 50 per annum. CRA, which is CARVI, you have a prime generation charge of 39.36, which is a one-time charge. Annual maintenance of 57.63 rupees per annum. And financial transaction processing of 3.36 on each transaction. Now, these are deducted from your NPS account by reducing it from the number of units, and it is charged on the last day of each calendar quarter. The fund manager, investment management, they get a charge of 0.01%. Custodian, who is doing the asset servicing, they charge 0.003%. Both these charges are per annum and they are recovered from the NPS account through the NAV deductions. So you will find when your annual statement, these amounts are being deducted as annual charges or one-time charges or per annum charges, whichever is applicable. Okay. Now contribution processing, it is subject to a minimum of ₹20 and a maximum of ₹25,000 per contribution. So that's a head to be remembered. All right. So what documents are to be collected for NPS registration? One, duly filled and signed CSRF form. Remember to fill it up in black ink only. One passport size photo, a self-attested copy of the PAN card, self-attested copy of the address proof, cancel check, contribution check in favor of POP, that is Angel Broking Limited, collection account NPS Trust, and an NCIS form. So these are the details that we will be taking care of. Once you have filled in your documents, you can reach out to Platform Mart and have the documents deposited and collected, and we'll take care of the necessary steps. So these are some of the list of documents which are accepted as valid KYC documents. Passport issued by the Government of India, PAN card issued by IT department. These are all identity proof. Okay. Voter ID card, valid driving license, Aadhaar, bank passbook or certificate with photograph. For address proof, you can give the passport issued by the Government of India, latest utility bill in the name of the customer. Okay, and it should not be more than 2 months old, showing the address. Voter ID card with photo and residential address, valid driving license, latest property, house tax receipt, bank passbook or statement with photograph and residential address. All KYC documents need to be self-attested by the customer. Okay, and the cross verification stamp will be done by the salesperson. So that's all we had about the NPS scheme. If you have any queries, feel free to ask us through the comment sections below and reach out to us. Our contacts are given. And once again, thank you for watching.